I'm aware.
All right, thanks. Bye. How are you, Don?
Good evening.
Hi, Bob. Okay. You were across the street.
Agenda.
Yep, agenda, and did you get a newsletter in the mail, Jimmy? No. You can grab one. I got it.
Thank you.
Go into the mayor's survey.
Yes,
Did some people not get it?
that's correct.
Hey, Mayor, Brian, where they stick? They stick.
I've been told with him a couple times already.
Why was it scrambled? It's always on money.
Good evening, everyone. Added to notice that this meeting was provided to the Westfield Leader, the Union County local source, advertised on January 7, 2016. Notification was sent to the Star Ledger and promptly posted on the municipal public bulletin board and filed in the office of the municipal clerk, informing the public of the time and place according to the provisions of the Open Public Meeting Law. Chapter 231, PL 1975. Mr. Coriello.
Good evening, Mayor.
Thank you.
I really don't have a heck of a lot to report. I think that the Center Street project, it appears that we will probably start at the brook because of the pending work that's got to be done at the signal on the corner. I don't want to have them digging up work we just put down. So we probably start at the brook, and we can get up to somewhere between Beach and Locust to that block with the first $130,000. Other than that, we're still waiting. We've received approval on the DOT project that was bid in March, I guess, or April, March. We're just waiting for contracts, et cetera, to come back. That work can't really start until June anyway, because the school being open and whatever, so, in a little league. So that work should start, I would hope, around the 1st of July.
Is that all?
That's all, I'm sorry.
Any comments, Mr. Coriello? Questions?
Yeah, I guess. I know I spoke to you, thank you for the new microphone, Tina.
You're welcome.
I know I spoke to you when Cranford reached out to me that they were gonna be paving Lexington.
Yes.
Were you able to make any communications with them? They were asking if we had plans on doing our half of Lexington.
Well, I didn't reach out to them. We don't have any funding available for that, and they expect us to pay for our half of the road, so.
Okay.
But I don't see a problem with that. We can, with milling machines today, we can mill out a section, half the road, pave our half of the road, whatever we want. It's not gonna make any difference. Their half of the road is required.
Okay.
Interesting.
That's it.
Okay. Mr. Coriello, I know we spoke a couple of days ago on Beach Ave.
Yes,
Any update?
I spoke to the contractor this morning, as a matter of fact, and reminded him that the work hadn't been done. He said it would be done before the end of the week.
Oh, very good, thank you. I will notify the resident. Okay. Mr. Renard?
Thank you, Mayor. I did put the appropriate authority ordinance in the property ordinance form and distributed to, I think it's been distributed to council, so I'm ready to go with that. I guess you're ready to go with it if you're ready to go with it.
Any questions for Mr. Renard?
I didn't hear what he said.
The appropriate authority ordinance that I was asked to put together at the last meeting, I did, and I
believe it's been distributed to everybody.
That's pertaining to the police.
Thank you, please.
Okay, so I'll make sure, thank you.
I'm sorry, I was a little obscure there. I forgot that everybody doesn't know what the appropriate authority is.
And then they blame the mayor. Any questions for Mr. Rod? Ms. Ariane, do you have anything?
And no report, Mayor.
Thank you. Any unfinished business of the council this evening? Seeing none. Any new business? Seeing none, we'll move on. Comments or matters for discussion from the members of council? Councilwoman Kukrow.
Yes, thank you very much, Mayor. Thank you to Councilman Petrozelli. I spoke to Steve Wardell today. I happened to have seen him today, and he brought this whole thing up to me, so that was gonna be a whole paragraph. So now you're relieved of that. Okay.
Is that about Lexington Avenue?
Yes, I saw him over there on the corner of Pine and East, you know, on a different matter, and he brought it up to me and stuff like that, so obviously it was going through the grapevine, so there's no need for me to say anything about that. Okay? But you're working on it. Again, it sounded like a good deal to me, that they would do everything, we just had to pay for it. Otherwise, they're gonna stop at Hillcrest, they said. All right, so you're all over it. Okay, also, I want to thank the police department for placing the speed monitoring sign on East Street after a request I made from the last meeting from a concerned resident. Taxpayers said, what good will that sign do except make people more aware of their speed while the sign is up? It'll go back to speeders once it is removed. I have a question. As the speed bump initiative is off the table at the current time, how about a stop sign on East? The street is very long and there are no speed deterrents now. It's from the park all the way to South Avenue. I think a stop sign halfway down East will really stop the speeders on that stretch of road. The concerned resident actually said, what about 2 stop signs? This has worked very well on other streets like West. I have a listing right in the corner of East and Pine, and I have to say I was almost clipped getting out of my car to meet an appointment there. They were coming from south, and I have to say that the car was really moving. A stop sign on the street will greatly help for obvious safety concerns. I assume this can be accomplished very cheaply. I've repeatedly been getting calls from residents about the speeding issue in town, which we all know is a very real concern. As we are all elected to help the taxpayers and residents of Garwood, these small items would seem to me to be able to be addressed pretty easily, and shows that we are being proactive in taking care of their concerns. And another thank you for the quick response for the downed tree on the corner of Pine and East. I saw Cranford over there, and they were removing everything earlier today, and no charge to Garwood. They said they were just being a good neighbor as a downed tree and was on the Garwood property. That's all for my report, Mayor.
Thank you. Any comments? Councilman Sarno, could you please look into that stop sign that Councilwoman talked about?
Yes, I can.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That'd be wonderful.
Okay. Councilman Martin?
No report, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Matthew?
Nothing, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman Sarno?
No report.
Councilwoman Tedesco?
Thank you, Mayor. Just a couple items. I saw the email from Ms. Ariema about the liquor license fees that she's brought to our attention, so I was just wondering the plan for that, if we are going to just look at it as a whole council or a committee, or if you just want to think about that, Mayor, and get back to us.
We'll discuss that at the next meeting. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Just put it on the radar. And then also, too, I'd like to add, as we all know, we have the rededication of the Garwood Sports and Recreation Complex, June 12th. And so just to recap the council's contributions and keep track of that for our historical committee president, who's requested I do this. Mayor, you've given a donation which will go towards the food, much appreciated. Ms. Ariema, you're also bringing sandwiches and cookies or something? Okay. And then Councilman Kukrow, cookies.
Cookies.
Right?
Don't even tell me
Homemade.
deviled egg.
No.
All my stuff is
I
homemade.
never said deviled eggs. That's all from the president.
Over there.
Telling you.
Deviled eggs anyway. Yeah, sure.
Right. Well, we plan to have over 150
Enough of deviled
people at
eggs.
this event, so that would be quite a bit of deviled eggs tonight. Councilman Martin, you'll be bringing chips and pretzels. It's been requested 2 bags of each, please. Councilman Sarno bringing water. Councilman Petrozelli, soda. Myself with the cake. Councilman Matthew, is there anything specific that you would like me to add, or we could just leave it as is? That's all I have.
Very good, thank
All
you.
right, thank you.
Alrighty, we'll move on to Council President Vetzelli.
Nothing to report, Mayor.
Okay, we'll continue on to public comment. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to address the mayor and council? Please step to the microphone, state your full name and address. Please limit your discussion to 3 minutes.
Is this for anything?
Yes,
Oh,
yes,
okay.
step right up, sir.
Okay. I just have a small, right, I guess.
Name and address, please,
James
sir.
Guerrero, 208 Spruce Avenue. Just my issue is you had granted a handicap parking, and I have nothing against handicapped people whatsoever. But witnessing what I witnessed, it's a new neighbor of mine that lives across the street at 207 is where you had issued it, okay? And how it affects myself is, being that I have a family now, we have multiple vehicles. The woman has moved in a year and a half ago. I didn't know she was handicapped. She runs a snow blower, a leaf blower, a lawn mower, and everything else. I would never have known. The interaction I've had with the one across the street, I park my vehicle once in a while there. She's asked me to move my vehicle. She had just moved in at the time. I said, no problem, to be a good neighbor and be courtesy. So after 2 or 3 times, I said, I can't keep moving my vehicle every time. She expressed to me that she has a large oak tree, if you look, and there's acorns hit her car, and she don't want to hit her car. So I said, well, I can't keep moving my car every time for your car. So the spot you had granted her, how it affects me is I've got to park on Oak Street now, and now you've awarded a handicap spot, and I just want to know what the criteria for that spot is, because she has a garage, she's the only resident in the household, and she has a driveway. And to me, I would think that you can get out of your car safely, because Spruce is a busy street, even down my end, safely, and a closer walk for you, okay, right into your driveway. So there's so many people in town, I feel, that would meet this criteria, from my father to lots of people who would love to block up their own spot in front of their house. We would all love to, you know, and I just feel it wasn't, even though she might meet the criteria paperwork-wise, you would never know it, and there's no handicap plates. And now, you know, she has a place down shore, sometimes she's gone for a week or 2. So now no one can utilize that spot, it gets congested down there. And paying almost $12,000 a year in taxes, I'd love to park on my street and not park on Oak Street. And I just don't feel, I feel that you guys were a little bit deceived in the information you got. If someone else in the household lived there, it'd be different. But it's one person, one resident, it's easier to park in your own driveway than locking up a spot on the street to the other residents. So we really, kind of just not fair in that sense, and I just wanted to express that. It seems like it's been awarded, the spot has been marked out also. So, that's kind of my gripe, and I just wanted to know, you know, what is the criteria for that? Can anyone get a handicap like that with let's see if you didn't have a spot.
Captain? Captain? What's up? Okay, sorry. Mr. Knapp, would you add something?
Well, the criteria for the person is they have to have either a handicap plate or a handicap placard. They apply to the Division of Motor Vehicles. They meet whatever criteria the Division of Motor Vehicles has. I know it requires a note from the doctor, and that's it. So in other words, they have to have a handicap, they have to be designated as being handicapped by the Division of Motor Vehicles. After that, they apply to the police department, and we get a recommendation from the police department as to whether the person meets the criteria or doesn't meet the criteria. So as far as whether she qualifies, that's an issue with the Division of Motor Vehicles. But the borough has granted those handicap places to people who apply. You know, it might be problematic, frankly, if we didn't, because you know, it could be construed as a failure to accommodate. There is such a thing as the Americans with Disabilities Act, so I think it would be could be problematic if people applied and were qualified and turned down, or we start discriminating between who we think is handicapped or not as handicapped as someone else. That's essentially, the borough has granted well, I'd have to ask the police department, but I believe that anybody who qualifies goes to the police department. If they meet the criteria, then we get a recommendation that they get a handicap spot, and then the mayor and council have granted it. So whether I can't speak to the policy, but that's been the procedure.
So there's no policy if you have a driveway, you know, it's, I mean, just from a common sense standpoint, you'd say, hey, you have a driveway that's empty all the time, and it's easier and safer for you to get from your driveway to your steps. And, you know, again, I just feel it was done by design, and we all love to do that. If the whole town did that, I feel everyone would be applying. So from what I understand, it's a doctor's note, and it's not a lot. And again, I'm not picking on hand, I just know what I know from the situation. I understand if it's a done deal, and I also understand that it could be, you know, as far as you know, you don't want to discriminate also. But I just wanted to bring it to your attention that this is what was done, this was the story behind it, and now us as neighbors can't park there when this will be an empty spot majority of the time. And it's just not, you know, when there's a driveway available and one resident in the house. That's, you know, I just felt that as a, say, hey, you know, we have a driveway. That's what it was expressed to me. If you have a driveway, you can't get it, so that's why I asked, that's all.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Is, Mr. Renaud, is a handicap plate a requirement for getting the handicap sign?
No, they have to have either a plate or a placard.
So is there something in the car at the current time?
There is on the mirror, but not on, no plate.
So that's not a requirement?
You don't have to have a plate. A lot of people that are handicapped don't have plates because they don't want to drive around and have people know that they're handicapped, because criminals, for example, could take advantage of them. So my wife's got a handicap placard. She doesn't have a handicap plate. She's handicapped.
And the only thing that's required is a doctor's note? I thought it was
I can't
stricter
tell
than
you
that.
what the requirement is. The requirement is, it's not our requirement. It's a
I know. No, I know.
requirement for the Division of Motor Vehicles. And not everybody, you know, I don't want to advocate for the handicap, but not everybody who is handicapped, you know, can you say, oh, that person looks handicapped?
I understand.
No, I understand that totally too, but I mean, I just thought, I mean, maybe there's a list of what the actual guidelines are, because I.
Well, it doesn't matter, because that's what in other words, that's what the state law criteria is that they have a handicap, that they've been issued either a placard or a plate by the Division of Motor Vehicles. The last thing that you want to do is start getting into the decision of who's handicapped. Now, if you want to have a different criteria as to who gets a space, you know, that's something that you could explore if you wanted to. I don't know if you want to get into that figure of how many people are in a house and whether they have a driveway and whether they have a common driveway perhaps and all of that. But you don't want to, you can't get involved. They have, if they're in who's handicapped. That's the determination that the Division of Motor Vehicles make. If you want, if the governing body wanted to make a different set of criteria, but again, I'm just telling you, you're gonna start getting into how many people live in the house, who really lives there, who has to leave in the morning, who's got a driveway, how wide is the driveway.
But you can have 50 spots in Garwood like that, if you give them away like that, is my point. Everyone needs that. My dad can come down here to sing, say, hey, she got one, and everyone wants to lock up their spot. It's just about the spot. The town should maybe have an ordinance that says, hey, you know what, you have a driveway, and it's more, we assess that it's more accessible for you to get from your driveway to your steps that way, okay, then there you go. There, you know, you have a means. We all have company at times that want, you know, to have our driveway for our company or and lock up our front spot, but that's for our company to find another place. You know, priority is her driveway, and she has that, and that's just my point. I just think the town should have a criteria of, if you have a legitimate spot, it should be exercised as far as, you know, okay, this looks, you know, yeah, if it's not safe, then I grant it. I'm not against that, but it's the neighbors and us who are affected by it when this person goes down the shore for 2 weeks, and we can't use the spot. And then it's congested from the soccer field or anything else to the new complex there, which is nice, don't get me wrong. What's that?
Did you call and talk to Chief Underhill at all on this? Because I had a conversation with him about this. He knows about the driveway, and he could communicate further with you on this subject.
Well, he expressed what the attorney's expressing, you know, but I didn't get any clarity on any guidelines that the town would have. I don't think anyone knows, to be honest with you, where it's at. So that's why I was saying, hey, you know, 50 people can apply for this if they do about it. Say, hey, I want my own spot in front of my house too. I love to.
buy a motor vehicle have that placard first.
Yes, but not many people have that. It's very, very simple to get that. It's not that hard, but I'm not complaining about anyone handicapped. Just saying the guidance, if you have a driveway, I think I covered this slide. And I'm not trying to be a pain. There should be some, I gotta live with it, that's why. And now that I have a family, we have multiple vehicles. I use my garage, I use my driveway, I use the front of my house. I also understand I don't own the spot, and so anyone can park there, and that's fine. But also, I gotta park on Oak Street now. I'm paying enough in taxes where I'd like to park on my own street. And I just think a handicap should be of validity. That's all I'm saying here. There should be some town guidelines where it is. That's all I'm trying to express today.
Councilwoman, do you have something to say?
Yes, Mayor, I do have a question, a follow-up question for Mr. Renaud on this, but I know we're in public comment, so I don't want to necessarily go out of order unless you allow me to.
Go right ahead.
All right, thank you.
We
Mr.
have
Guerrero, thanks
questions.
for coming in and bringing this to our attention. Mr. Renaud, just to follow up, certainly we all are on the same page. We would not want to discriminate against handicapped people. Of course not. But the gentleman has made a good point. I don't know if it's the best comparison, but I'll just use it for the sake of using it. Last year we did the dumpster ordinance, where it's the chief of police or his designee at the police department that determines whether or not you can put the dumpster in your driveway. If you can, then that's where it needs to go. He won't sign off for it to go on the street. I wonder if it's possible for us to do the same and empower our chief or his designee to say, look, there's one person in this house, you have a driveway, you can park there. That's really the best place for you. As you're saying, it might be getting into the thick of it, but it's just my follow-up question.
Well, the answer is if you want to make up an ordinance and come up with criteria for when you would issue a handicap spot, then I suppose that you could do that.
Okay. Perhaps laws and licensing.
I'd be in favor of that. Mayor, if I just make a comment. Jimmy, thanks for bringing that to our attention. Just to give you a councilman's perspective on it, these things pop up on the agenda, and if I have no reason to question them, I vote yes on it. That's my criteria. You're the first person who's ever brought up, well, how do you get there? And I do find it kind of troubling that somebody has a driveway and they're a single resident, and why are they applying for it? And parking is at enough of a premium in this town, in particular spots, yours in particular, near the athletic field, as you get closer to the center of town, that I really think it behooves us to look into that, that we can't just afford to go ahead and, I feel like I didn't do my job as a councilman, looking into this, because I did not know all this. So at least a form or something. I know, Mr. Renaud, what you're saying, how much can you get into, somebody says more than one person lives there, or the driveway's not good enough, but at least to ask those questions. I think we should have something like that in the criteria. Because otherwise, it's just like Mr. Guerrero was saying, we're just gonna be giving away parking spots that really we can't afford to give out.
I'd like to follow up. Most of them have no driveways. A lot of the handicap signs in Garwood, there's no driveway, and that's why they have them on Willow, that's at a premium. Alexis's house, that was on Cedar. Most of the handicap signs are for people that have no driveways to get off the street.
And
And
that's
that's what I thought the reason for it was. So this was,
Well, here's what I would say. You've heard some concerns. You haven't heard anything from either the chief or the police department or the person who's involved. So my suggestion would be that before you go and decide to do things, you might want to find out what the criteria is, if any. Is it just that somebody applies, or is there a determination that they actually need this spot? And then decide whether you want to change, put in some sort of criteria in the ordinance as to, if you want to limit it to houses with no driveways, that's fine. I have no issue. As long as it's uniform. That's what my concern is that
Okay.
that it be uniform and very clear to anybody as to who gets a spot and who doesn't get a spot.
Councilman Sana, I'm sorry to burden you with another project, but I think because the application goes through the chief, I think you should handle
This is
it.
no burden.
Okay.
I'll gladly look into
Thank
it
you.
and research it and see
Okay.
what else we find, so thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else in the audience like to step forward to the microphone?
Sherman. I'm a Westfield resident, and I'm here tonight representing Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America. Moms Demand Action is we're working hard across 50 state chapters to reduce the gun violence that claims the lives of over 90 Americans each day. We, in particular, are focused on gun safety and have worked quite a bit with Chief Underhill, who's been very supportive, to prevent unintentional shootings in the home. We're the largest gun violence prevention movement in America with over 3.5 million members, and we're growing rapidly. There are over 125 members in this area. We're here tonight because we're asking Mayor Lombardo to recognize National Gun Violence Awareness Day in Garwood on June 2nd. It's a day to remember those who have lost their lives to gun violence. So far, mayors across Union County have already stepped up, including mayors from Fanwood, Scotch Plains, Westfield, New Providence, Union, Cranford, Rahway, and Clark. They are proclaiming June 2nd Gun Violence Awareness Day in their towns. In particular, we would like to have representatives from Garwood attend our event, which is going to take place for Union County on June 2nd at 7 p.m. in Fanwood. This event will include remarks from Union County Prosecutor Grace Park on our present state of gun violence, and we'll also hear from Plainfield's Reverend Tracy Spells on reducing gang violence. On June 2nd, we will have police representatives from most Union County towns, including Union County Sheriff Joseph Cryan, and many mayors, government officials, clergy, and the general public. We're hoping that we can count on a representative from this group to join us.
Yes. Thank you very much. I do have in my possession your proclamation.
Terrific. Oh, wonderful.
Proclamation declaring June 2nd National Gun Violence Awareness Day. This proclamation declares June 2nd to be National Gun Violence Awareness Day in the Borough of Garwood to honor all and remember all victims and survivors of gun violence and declare that we as a country must do more to reduce gun violence. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. If I may, a moment. Thank you very much, Mayor.
My pleasure.
My name is Kathleen Lazinski. I am also a resident of Westfield, representing Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America. In addition to community outreach lead for moms, I'm a presenter of our Be Smart program, which helps gun owners become responsible gun owners by securing their firearms and keeping them out of the hands of children and teenagers, especially in the home. Chief Underhill, as we said earlier, has been very supportive of our efforts. He attended our Be Smart training with us, and he is hosting a Be Smart training himself in Garwood on June 9th. So we truly appreciate his support. This presentation can be tailored to any specific audience and any time constraints. It is non-political, and it only talks about gun safety, not gun legislation. I'd like to mention also, if you would like for a presentation to be, held anywhere in Garwood, I would be happy to set up any date, and I can be there. It could be as short as 20-minute presentation, but they usually run longer because it sparks conversation. So, lastly, I'd like to mention that Moms Demand Gun Sense for America will be at the Garwood Rocks on June 5th.
Very good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? Seeing none, we have a motion to adjourn the workshop.
So moved, Mayor.
All in favor? We'll just continue on to the regular meeting. Please rise for a moment of silence, salute to the flag.
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Adequate notice of this meeting was provided to the Westfield Leader, Union County local source, advertised on January 7, 2016. Notification was sent to the Star Ledger and promptly posted on the municipal public bulletin board and filed in the office of the municipal clerk, informing the public in time and place according to the provisions of open public meeting law, Chapter 231 PL 1975. Roll call, Ms. Ariana.
Mayor Lombardo,
Here.
Councilman Kukrow,
Here.
Councilman Martin, Councilman Matthews,
Here.
Councilman Sarno,
Here.
Councilman Tedesco,
Here.
and Council President Pedroselli.
Here.
Ms. Ariana, minutes.
Regular workshop of the mayor and council held on May 10th, 2016.
May I have a motion to accept the minutes?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Communications.
New Jersey State League of Municipalities, Mayor's Advisory.
Received and filed. Ordinances. Public hearing on ordinance 1609 as advertised on May 12, 2016. Ms. Ariana, please read ordinance 1609 by title only.
Yes, Mayor, bond ordinance to authorize the making of various public improvements in, by, and for the Borough of Garwood in the County of Union, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $445,000 to pay the cost thereof, to appropriate various grants, to make a down payment, to authorize the issuance of bonds, to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds.
Have you received any correspondence?
None, Mayor.
Does anyone present wish to be heard on ordinance 1609? Yes, Mr. Patterson?
Good evening, Mayor Lombardo, ladies and gentlemen of the council. Bruce Patterson, 325 Willow Avenue. Last meeting, obviously, I was premature in talking about matching grants, although there wasn't matching grants involved last time. But anyway, this matching grant, which was what, $65,000 that the county gave us? I think it was 65. So you're matching at 65, is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and by matching the $65,000, you're actually borrowing the $65,000, is that correct? And that's what, 15-year bond?
It's in the note, I don't have it, and it's in the ordinance, I don't have it.
10, 15,
But
well,
it's
years.
2, I think it's 10 years.
10.
I think,
10.
I'm not sure if it's on there.
I would-
Actually, it'd be 95% of 65,000, right? You have to put 5% down.
Yeah, and it's a little more than 65,000, because they want to appropriate the actual 130 for the work, and then the other
All
costs.
right,
we have to-
in essence, in
Yeah.
essence.
Thereabouts.
They're about to leave. Government likes to talk. But anyway, Councilman Sarno was at the freeholder meeting where I was there, and I actually talked to the freeholders about matching grants. You know, that's my topic that I many times bring up. What was astounding is that freeholders, I won't even mention his name, because they're all the same.
Thank you.
But anyway, he said, well, you can always turn down the grant. You know, and this is after I spoke to him and said, you know, we're actually bonding. So it's not just coming out of our pockets now, but it will be coming out of our pockets for 10 years. And he says, well, you have the choice of turning down the grant. Now this is a freeholder. This is supposed to be a leader, you know, over the constituents with decorum. It was horrible what he said. It was, you know, it was very insulting. And so what he's telling us is, yeah, go borrow the money, go raise the taxes, or else turn it down. I don't see the logic behind that. It just struck me as just wrong, and I've been complaining about the freeholders for years now, and that's just another example that they really don't care. I mean, if they want, if they're going to do a matching grant program and say that, you know, okay, well, we want to see a little skin in the game from the person receiving the grant, then fine, just make it a 25% match. I mean, something like that, but a full 100% match just doesn't make any sense. I'm not gonna let it go also down at the county. I'm sure we're gonna be getting other grants that we're gonna have to raise taxes or borrow on again. But it's just like this gift that keeps on taking. I'm giving, but taking. And as a taxpayer and a resident of this county, this is wrong. The freeholders are wrong. I'm not gonna mention his name, but I said he was wrong at the freeholder meeting, and he's wrong, I'm saying now.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And if you can, I mean, I've asked this, come up with a resolution saying, will you please quit banging us for additional taxes or additional bonding? I mean, you know, get a lot of the other
pass the resolution around and get everybody to agree. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Motion to close public hearing on ordinance 1609.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Roll call, please, Ms. Ariano.
We got adopt. We're gonna motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt ordinance 1609.
I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance 16-09, Mayor.
Second.
Discussion?
I just want to add one thing. I mean, I know I talked about it with Bruce at the meeting, but that's our choice as a borough. You know, if I didn't feel like it was in the best interest of Garwood, I wouldn't have voted on it. I could probably go on with you for hours and hours about the spending in Elizabeth. But that, I mean, in terms of this particular issue, they're trying to match it to make sure that it's for one purpose. Okay?
That's correct.
You know, I get that. I get it. But in terms of spending, that's one thing. But when it comes down to projects like that, you have to see something back. You know, if there's any kind of, you look back, and I know that Mr. Renaud brought up the 95% rule, they're trying to do away with that in the assembly. So you can borrow 100% of it. You don't have to put anything down. And I think that's scary. We should be going the other way when it comes to that. We should be forced to put maybe 10 or 15% down. That way we are looking forward to the future and not kicking the can down the road, so to speak.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I just wanted to make one comment on that too. Thanks for bringing that up, Councilman Sarno. And if you go ahead and you move it down to a 25% match, be careful what you wish for. That's the way the government does Medicaid. They match 3 for 1, okay? And that's why Medicaid expenses only go one way. Because what happens is states have to cut $4 to save 1, so there's no incentive whatsoever. So the lower you make the match, the more likely you make it that they're going to take the grant, and it does foster bad behavior. So I have no problem with them having matching grants. I mean, it does go ahead and double, in my view, it doubles the amount of money for projects that we're going to do anyway. And if the project were not worthwhile, the grant wouldn't be enough to incentivize me to go and vote for it anyway. You know, 1 for 1 for something that you're going to do already, I think that that's good. But if we were going to cut it, you know, I think that the $65,000 cost savings would be its own benefit. So that's why I'm voting for this.
Thank you.
I have a real problem with the matching grants as well. I'm really not sure of the protocol and how it's set up, but I'm assuming you have to use it in the calendar year. Is that the way it works?
With this one, this one, yes.
Most of them.
Most of them, I mean, you know, is.
Actually, no, this one is very strict. Most of them are a year and a half, 2 years. This one is.
Because wouldn't it be something good if you could like save up all the grant money and put it in escrow and then pay for the stuff?
It's designated to each particular project.
I understand that, but I mean, you could actually save. You can save the grants you're entitled to.
But don't you have to vouch this out, Ms. Ariano?
Right, if you apply for a grant and you say you're gonna match it, you have to do it. And if you apply for a grant and you say you're gonna spend the money, you have to draw it down. You have to pay for it first yourself and draw it down. You should send them canceled copies of canceled checks, vouchers, showing that you paid a vendor, like we had the trees last year.
Right.
So I had to send them copies, everything showing that I paid the tree vendor for this project, and that's how I got my money back.
Right.
So
So we're putting the money out first and then you're getting reimbursed.
most of them are that way. In fact, all of them are that way, that we deal with. Community development is that way, DOT is that way, and this one is that way. That's why we have to bond first, because how can we pay for it? Like DOT, we bond.
No, I'm just trying to understand it better.
We
I'm
don't
really.
get money till after.
Yeah, well, that, like I said, I mean, to me, they're just giving us back our own money that they've already taken. I also have a problem with it, but, you know.
Let's continue on then. Roll call, Ms. Ariano?
Councilman Kukrow.
No.
Councilman Martin. Councilman Matthews.
Aye.
Councilman Sarno.
Aye.
Councilman Tedesco.
Aye.
And Council President Pedroselli.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Council standing committees reports and other reports. Police, Councilman Sarno.
Thank you, Mayor. Last week, tours of the police department were provided to both the pre-K and kindergarten classes from Lincoln School. Kids and parents alike will walk through the police department and receive special instruction in how they call to 911 and then how that call is handled at headquarters. As always, the highlight for all was being shown the jail cells. The Garwood Police Department has received grant funding from the New Jersey Department of Traffic and Public Safety totaling $5,000 to be used for enforcement of the 2016 Click It or Ticket campaign schedule to take place statewide between May 23rd and June 2nd. Yesterday, day one, Garwood officers conducted a checkpoint resulting in a total of 62 summons being issued for seatbelt and various other violations that were observed. The Garwood Police Department advises all motorists to be sure to always buckle up. The police department has received numerous calls regarding fraudulent calls from individuals misrepresenting themselves as agents of the Internal Revenue Service. The scam is to frighten a person called into believing that they are a target of an IRS investigation. They threaten arrest if the caller does not pay a sum of money to the caller to clear up the case. Residents should be aware that the IRS does not make calls like this and do not request payments in this manner. Residents should never provide personal information to anyone over the phone and never via the internet unless they are absolutely sure who they are dealing with. Chief Underhill would like again to invite Mayor Council along with interested residents to a short Be Smart for Kids seminar, which will be held June 9th at the Garwood Firehouse from 7 to 8 p.m. The Be Smart for Kids campaign promotes responsible gun storage and asks adults to take simple steps to ensure gun safety in their household. I know we just heard about that. And lastly, this forum is provided in conjunction with Mom Demand Action for Gun Safety in America, which is a nonpartisan grassroots group of parents who support the Second Amendment. They were founded in the wake of the Sandy Hook tragedy and seek to raise awareness. The program is geared toward all parents and not just those who might be gun owners. We hope to see you there. That's all from my report.
Thank you, Councilman. Any comments on the police report?
Mayor, quick comment.
Yes.
I just have to say, I do appreciate the police department with all their alerts about those scams going on. You know, you hear it happen, but when it happens to you, you're like, wow, these really do happen. And I did receive one of those IRS calls, and I thought, oh, this is really strange. So I figured I should ask my mother, since moms know best, what to do about it. And she said, oh, the IRS will not call. You'll get about 50 papers in the mail before that. So anyway, little story on that. But it's real, and it's great that our police department is very aware of it, and they communicate to the residents. So
Thank
watch
you.
out.
By Nixel too, which I
Yes.
thought was
Yes.
very good.
Yes, thank you.
Definitely.
Right.
I agree with that, and they're also targeting seniors, like insanely. And they were kind enough, Todd came over there, the chief came over there. You know, it's really, because like I said, you're absolutely right, the IRS will never call you on the phone. They'll send a stack of letters to your
Right,
house first.
right.
So, yeah, they target the most vulnerable, so I'm really surprised you got a call. You're like so not in the right age group.
I guess
You've gotten them?
they're hitting everyone.
You've gotten them?
Yes.
Not
They're
just
not calling
seniors.
me.
Yeah, maybe you're not in the place to do it.
I was gonna say, I got one once, and they said they were coming to arrest me, and they were in the Garwood Police Department. I said, oh, you are? That's not far, right here.
Okay, we'll continue on. Streets and Roads Ecology, Councilman Petrozelli. I'm sorry, Public Health,
You need to
Council.
forget about me, I'm there.
No, not at all. It's just having a good night.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. There was a special meeting of the Board of Health on May 18th. It was held due to past violations not being rectified at a Garwood food establishment. This store already received a 2-day closure in the past. And unfortunately, one of those closure days was a big snowstorm, so it did not affect them, you know, negatively at that point. The Board of Health brought the owner and his representative at this meeting to try and make them understand the seriousness of the issue. There seemed to be a problem with the manager that the owner was trying to get rectified. The owner put forth all types of food safety measures he implemented since the last time he was given a warning. The outcome of the meeting was if the violations are not taken care of properly, which he has already started, and if there are any other infractions within a 2-year time frame of this date, he would face a 5-day closure and there will be no more warnings. That's all for my report, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Any comments on the report? None. Streets and Roads Ecology, Council President Petrozelli.
Thank you, Mayor. The Department of Public Works completed the following from May 11th to May 24th. The recurring activities of garbage, property maintenance, and more were completed. Additionally, miscellaneous activities were performed street sweeping operations in various areas throughout the borough, completed the installation of residential permit parking signs throughout the south side of the borough, and the residential parking sign installation is now complete. Continue to weed all of the mulch beds down at the sports and recreation complex, Completed planting of the spring flowers in the roadside pots within the right-of-way areas. Installed residential handicap parking spots in various areas of the borough. Perform major pothole repairs at the following locations: the dead end of Spruce Avenue on the eastern side, 200 block of Hickory, Lexington, and Hemlock, intersections of Pine Avenue, Center Street, West Street, and Pine Avenue, the 400 block of Pine as well, various areas along Center Street, and a grand total of 4 tons of hot mix asphalt was used for those repairs. And on a shared service note, the Borough family also provided the continued use of their portable air compressor for the installation of the street signs for that process. That's all for my report, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman. Any comments on streets and roads? Hearing none, fire, Councilwoman Kukrow.
No report, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Finance, Councilwoman Tedesco.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. The Finance Committee met on May 12th to discuss the possibility of a permit portal, which has been brought up a couple times up here on the dais, which Cranford presently has and can be accessed online by residents. We explored its features on our own and discussed what looks like anyway to be the price tag of $1,000 for the portal. We unanimously found value in having the portal, which allows residents to obtain permanent information and track the status of those along with inspection statuses. However, since it was not directly budgeted for this year, we want to be sure the borough would be able to afford it. We are also investigating whether or not additional expenses such as IT support would be necessary to bring in this portal. So we want to make sure 1,000 really means 1,000. And also, we will keep the council and public up to date with our findings and recommendation if and when it comes to fruition. In other news, we took a look at how much of the 2016 budget has been expended thus far in the year. It's important to note that we all agree that it's really too early to judge the budget on this one percentage alone, but as of a couple weeks ago when we met, 36% of the budget had been spent. This is on target as we are more than a quarter through the year, but not yet at the halfway point. And we will continue to monitor the budget as the year progresses as a Finance Committee, and that's all for my report, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Any comments on finance report? Seeing none, buildings and grounds, Councilman Matthew.
No report, Mayor.
Thank you. Laws and license, Councilman Martin.
No report.
Recreation, Councilman Martin. Garwood Senior Citizens Liaison, Councilwoman Kukrow.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor Lombardo was at the past senior meeting and spoke about the new food emporium that will be opening where the old Pathmark is located. He said there's going to be a juice bar and cafe, and their earmark is going to be focused on all nutritional foods. I'm hoping cupcakes are part of that, what they consider nutritional.
No, deviled eggs are.
The group welcomed new members Thomas and Peggy Murray. I also spoke about my visit to the Kenilworth Senior Complex and what a great place it was, and a real tribute to their seniors. An entire building and 2 floors were fantastic. I think I spoke about it at the last council meeting. I was very impressed with it, especially with their kitchen, steam table, and the hot lunches supplied by the county. Audrey Kay also informed me that she did speak to the county about the hot lunch program, and they did tell her that Garwood would first need their own building for the seniors, then a steam table, and then they can apply for the program. So I'm asking, is there anyone giving away a building to supply to the seniors? That would be wonderful to start off the thing. The fire department, although a very nice meeting hall, cannot be used for the hot lunch program because it's obviously being used for other functions, and it is, after all, our fire department. So we need a little building for the seniors. I told everyone that their tents were ordered for their picnics. Thanks to Tina. Aunt R was selling some chances to some of her wonderful handmade crafts. All proceeds went to the club. I won a silk flower basket and also purchased a nice duster, all made from leftover pieces of yarn. Now I'm gonna have to start dusting something at home. Jim Boyle was there to let everyone know about the Knights of Columbus Spaghetti Dinner fundraiser on June 11th from 6 to 9. Tickets are $10. Lunch was turkey sloppy joes and a cake to celebrate the current birthdays. That's all for my report, Mayor.
Thank you. Any comments on the senior liaison report? Seeing none. Library, Mayor's Representative, Council President Petrozelli.
Thank you, Mayor. The Garwood Library will have a tent at Garwood Rocks event on Sunday, June 5th. We hope that residents and visitors will stop by our booth to find out the happenings at the library. On Thursday, June 7th, the library will be used as a polling place for the primary election. The library will be open, but seating will be limited. All programs will be canceled for the day. Toddler story time will continue through Wednesday, June 15th, and then break for the summer, returning on Wednesday, September 14th. Friday morning movings will continue through Friday, June 17th, and then we'll break for the summer, returning on Friday, September 23rd. The Monday afternoon book club will meet on Monday, June 20th at 1 p.m., and then we'll resume on Monday, September 19th. The Thursday evening book club will meet on the first Monday of each month throughout the summer. Summer reading club sign-up starts on Wednesday, June 13th. The library will present our summer reading kickoff event, the Mad Science Olympics, to school on June 14th at 1:15 p.m. Logins for summer reading begin on Monday, June 20th. And the Garwood Library is open Monday through Thursday from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m., Fridays from 9 a.m. to 4:30, and Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., closed Saturdays in July and August. The library will be closed May 30th in honor of Memorial Day. That's all for my report.
Thank you. Any comments on the library report? Hearing none. School board liaison, Councilman Sarno.
Thanks, Mayor. The school board met Tuesday, May 17th, and Superintendent of Schools Teresa Quigley welcomed teacher Aaron Beatty as the newest addition to the staff at Lincoln School. The board also congratulated 23 students who earned straight A's during the third market period. Board member Tracy Rowland reported to her colleagues that the Garwood Education Fund raised $4,700 from its annual dinner gala at the Westwood last month, where the money will be used for scholarships and grants. The Kinderpalooza Choir gave a brief preview of their upcoming program on Thursday, June 9th. The next meeting of the board will be Tuesday, June 20th at 7:30 at Lincoln School. That's all from my report.
Thank you. Any comments on the report?
Just a quick question, and thank you for including the EFG money raise. It's always good to publicize. And somebody had told me they had an executive session that night. Was there any action taken after it, or?
No.
No? Okay. Thanks.
Thank you. Continue on, celebration of public events and holidays liaison, Councilwoman Tedesco.
Here I am again. All righty. Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to encourage everyone to attend the annual Memorial Day event brought to you by the Garwood Celebrations Committee, as it will take place on Memorial Day at noon at the Columbian Club. Mayor Lombardo has arranged for the guest speaker this year, which we look forward to hearing from during the program. His name is Sergeant David Bugle, and he served in the war in Iraq. Hot dogs, chips, and soda will be served, and that's all for my report, Mayor.
Thank you. Any comments?
Just real quick, we're gonna meet, because we know we got some new members. 8 o'clock is when we rally in Cranford for the parade.
I sent you guys an email and with a copy of all the instructions, where you're gonna meet, what you're gonna do.
Oh, just wanna bring it up. And then, what about picking up the banner?
I sent it.
I'll take care of the banner.
You'll take care of the banner? Okay, I just wanna make sure.
The banner's in here, I'll put it in the.
And just so you know, I took the initiative, I talked to Dr. Quigley. I thought maybe we could get some of the students that participate in the student government night, maybe they might be honored to carry the banner on the behalf.
That would be a great idea.
I tried.
Okay.
Okay, we'll continue on. Union County Air Traffic Noise Advisory Board, Representative, Councilman Matthew.
No report, Mayor.
Thank you. Administrative Review Committee, Councilman Tedesco.
No report, Mayor.
Historical Committee, Councilwoman Tedesco.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I attended last night's meeting of the Historical Committee, which actually lasted a little over 2 hours. This is actually my last opportunity to announce it at a council meeting, so we do hope to see everyone there at the rededication of the Recreation Complex on Sunday, June 12th from 2 to 5 p.m. The rain date is the following week on June 19th, same time and same location. Refreshments will be provided after the program, which will feature guest speakers and unveiling of the plaques. I'm pleased to report that the committee has received many RSVPs from the volunteers and their relatives and friends that made that complex possible, with one actually even traveling from Georgia to attend. So this is going to be really something for our town and our history. And that's all for my report, Mayor.
Thank you. Any comments on the Historical Committee report? Ms. Ariemo, officers' reports.
Who's gonna go chief of police under April 2016? Then Stefano, zoning code enforcement officer, under report for April 2016.
Do you have a motion to accept the officer's report as submitted?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Public comment. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to address the mayor and council? Please step to the microphone. State your full name and address. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes.
Hey, Olenek, This goes to your road department. I understand that you're gonna be doing some work on Center Street, in other words, repaving. I don't know if there's an ordinance that exists, but if there isn't, maybe one should. It's just about time you get the streets all paved, nice and flat, you know. Along comes either the street department, the water company, the gas company. They, you know, a hidden patch, and the patch is awful and worse than it was ever. I think we should strive for some kind of a homogeneous surface so that it matches whatever is there, and not just be a bump or another speed bump or something like that. You know, if there's an ordinance that exists, fine, but gotta enforce it. You go down to like Hickory, and that's atrocious down there what they did. It's absolutely atrocious. And it's not only there, it goes to Cranford and all the other towns. You know, they're not rectifying the situation that they create. So it's time to look at it positively, or otherwise we're gonna have all patched streets again. It's like the proverbial bird, you know, he's waiting on the line till after you finish your washing your car. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah. Anyone
Is
else?
there, could you share that for the public?
Hang on.
Oh, yeah, I said we do have an ordinance in place, I'm not sure if it's, you can't open the street, I think it's 5 years, maybe 10, I'm not sure, but utility companies can't open the street that we would pay for 5 years unless it's an emergency.
Okay.
And they have to get a street opening permit, so when we get them inquiries, Donald and Clint look, and if they opened it, I mean, if they paved it, they can't unless it's an emergency.
And I also know that we do reach out to them before we pave any streets.
They come to our.
And ask them if there's anything that they need to do on that street, that they get it done now, prior.
Right, they also come to the pre-construction meetings on these projects, so if they find that there's something that they can do it while we're in the road.
Because we actually did have that come up on Pine one time, where they wanted to go down, I think it was with the fire hydrants, they were going around changing them, and we told them that they couldn't do it because we had just paved it the summer before.
It's like people wait 30 years to get a street paved and nothing flat, it's disintegrated.
Also, just while we're on the subject, I was reading an article that Jersey City actually passed an ordinance where if the utility company does any work, they are in charge of paving, not just patching, but actually paving the entire road. So it seems pretty steep, costly and so forth on their end. I kind of wonder how it's working out for Jersey City, or if it's something that would be applicable for us to do. You know, it definitely sounds great in theory. I don't know how it works in practice, but.
Well, also I can share some things that happen in the county that we have the same problem. I mean, you have a 5-year moratorium on a road you can't touch, and the utilities will come out, well, it's an emergency, that's their excuse. So sometimes it's unavoidable, so.
I might point out,
They have you smell gas.
I might point out one area that was that Keith, I think it's Keith Jeffers, the last street down in Lexington. Road work was done in there, they ripped that up something fierce, and now they finally repaved the whole surface. So I guess it is possible.
Okay.
All right, thank you again. Anyone else? Mr. Patterson?
Good evening, Mayor, ladies and gentlemen. The Council, Bruce Patterson, 325 Low Avenue. At this event, by the way, just want to point out, Mayor Casabone is going to be there.
That's correct.
And he is one of the original council people that dedicated the original rec complex.
1959.
59. So he's going to be there, and also one of the volunteers are going to show up. There may be more, but one of the original people from back then, Herb Worthwine, is going to show up.
Oh, very good.
We're going to have, boot near.
Yes, absolutely.
Did you?
And we're going to have deviled eggs, that's everybody.
No, I wasn't at
But
I don't remember
Down
that
now,
from me.
no, not thousands of them, not 300.
Does the whole committee know about the boutonniere?
Who?
Does the whole committee know about the boutonniere?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we discussed it. Just a couple questions on these resolutions on the consent agenda. There's number 16202 through 16207. There's 6 of them. It's about liens on the property. It's talking about Casal Industries. Is this the prelude to the final sale of the property, or possibly could somebody explain it? And just another one. 16209 is a $10,000 Clean Communities grant, which is being inserted as revenue into our budget. And I guess the question is can this offset the taxes, or is just a pass-through? We already appropriated something for that? You know, it's already spent.
So the first resolutions you asked about
Are all the liens, the 6 liens, are probably.
They're all being paid off by the contract purchaser for the property, all the tax liens, basically. They're not paying the town. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that these tax liens, tell me if I'm wrong, Tina, I assume that somebody else already purchased these tax liens, correct? So all they're doing is paying them to the person who purchased the tax liens, and we're not actually getting any money.
they're redeeming these.
Right.
From one private entity to another private.
Correct.
The other question is, that's a grant we get every year, but they usually don't announce it until after the budget, where you wouldn't see this, but we do offset taxes, recycling costs with that, a little bit of that, but the grant has guidelines, so you can't just do whatever you want with it. We run that cleanup day, and we offset recycling costs. We use it to print the garbage schedule. Leaf bags or no? Leaf bags, we have to buy them. There's only certain criteria in the grant that what you can and cannot do with the money. Sometimes we buy trash receptacles, recycling receptacles, containers, garbage equipment. We buy some equipment with it, only a certain percentage of it. So,
Actually, the purpose of my question was more to the point of, we're getting $10,000 in now during the budget cycle. We already appropriated these monies.
no, this is appropriated. In other words,
So it's really just pass through, in other words. Now we're gonna spend it. In other words, we're not being able to knock down the tax increase by 10 grand.
No.
Or it just goes into,
no, but
fund
we
balance.
do offset some of the costs that we pay the recycling company with this, and we can't reduce the budget because this wasn't announced until now, but that money goes back to surplus because we're not gonna spend it.
Oh, and just as a point, you mentioned recycling. Family, there was a big article in the Westfield Leader about family. They're closing down the community
That's terrible.
and going with door-to-door pickup. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else? Seeing none, we'll move on to unfinished business, consent agenda. Do I have a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
Second?
Roll call, please, Ms. Ariano.
Councilman LaFleur.
Yes.
Councilman Morton. Councilman Matthews.
Aye.
Councilman Sarno.
Aye.
Councilman Tedesco.
Aye.
And Council President Scarpelli.
Aye.
Moving on, payment of claims, Ms. Ariano.
Be it resolved that the following claims as approved be in the same amount hereby ordered paid and properly signed and verified, and the payment of payrolls as listed is hereby confirmed and ratified.
Do I have a motion to adopt payment of claims?
So moved, Mayor?
Second.
Roll call, please, Ms. Ariano.
Councilman LaFleur.
Yes.
Councilman Morton. Councilman Matthews.
Aye.
Councilman Sarno.
Aye.
Councilman Tedesco.
Aye.
Council President Scarpelli.
Aye.
If I may, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention June the 5th, our Garwood Rocks. We won't have another meeting before that. Even as far as this past week, there's been some major planning meetings. Once again, we pray for good weather and hope we have a lot of participants like last year. That being said, the regular meeting of the Mayor and Council will be held June the 14th, Flag Day, in Council Chambers at 7:15. Workshop is held at 7 p.m. We have a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good night and thank you.